The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
British Spy Stories Season 4 Double Agent Episode 16. The safe house called Gamma 3 is embedded in one of the buildings of the Opfikon Industrial Estate in Zurich, 2 blocks away from the place where Kate met L'Equipe 84 and demonstrated to Oscar Zetkin that she is an experienced killer. She opens her eyes 10 seconds before David does, and she snuggles into his body heat. After a few moments, he says, "How long will I need to stay here?"
"Until Zetkin's no longer a threat."
"Days? Weeks?"
"Well, if Zetkin is still a risk in a few weeks, London will create a new life for you. You can have plastic surgery if you want."
She rolls over onto her stomach and leans up on her arms.
"They'd move you, too. Where would you go?"
"Can't I stay in Zurich?"
"Not if Zetkin is still active."
He brushes her hair away from her eyes. "Come with me," he says. "A new life somewhere. Together. America. Brazil." Kate doesn't answer. There's a pause and she gets up from the mattress and pulls on a t-shirt.
"I'll make tea,"
she says, and disappears into the rest of the flat. 5 minutes later, she walks back and they sit down on a sofa near the windows that overlook the drab repetition of the warehouses around them. "Well?" he says.
"I'm not sure."
"Why?"
"My job's not made for settling down."
"You could do something else," he says, and holds her hand.
"My only skills are killing people."
He wants to laugh at how ridiculous those words sound, but he doesn't. They talk on about nothing in particular. Then she goes for a shower.
"See you later,"
she says, as she puts on her coat and returns to him. She kisses him on the lips, then walks down to her Jaguar in the secure parking beneath the safe house. David walks back to the bedroom and pulls the charging cable from his phone. Then he dials a number and puts the device to his ear. "Maya?"
"I wondered when I'd hear from you,"
she says. "How are you?"
"Tired from running."
"It won't be much longer. We just need to get the money and go."
"Haas put it all in a numbered Swiss bank account,"
she says.
"I know the account number, but only Leo had the PIN code."
"Can you get hold of it?" he says.
"No, he kept it on his phone. The Zurich police took that when they recovered his body from the airport."
"Did he not record the PIN anywhere else?"
"Not that I know of,"
she says.
"I'll go through his things and see if he wrote it down somewhere. I've got a key to his Berlin flat."
"Why have you got a key to his Berlin flat?" Maya pauses.
"I was fucking him, David. Okay? You happy now?"
"You were sleeping with both of them?" David sounds incredulous.
"Whatever,"
she says.
"Not sleeping with anyone now, am I?"
"Would Vincent have a copy of the PIN?"
"If he did, it'll be in his study at home. He put everything of value there because of the security cameras."
"I could go and have a look," says David. "What's the PIN look like?"
6 sets of 2 digits.
"I'd have to break in."
"You're used to that,"
she says. There's dead air for a second. Then David says, "I wanted to ask you, because you're in MI6, how well do you know Agent Coniston?"
"Not at all. Why?"
I asked her how she knew about Zetkin wanting me dead, and she wouldn't tell me. Would that have come through MI6?
"London don't know." I still have access to the Oberon system. There's nothing about it on there, says Maya. She must have contacts outside the official channels. Other sources. Be careful, David. How serious is it between you and her?
I like her.
If it comes to choosing, you need to choose us, David. I won't let you bail out on me now.
Let's see what happens.
No. Are you with me or not?
Her anger rises in her voice.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because if you're wavering, I'll have to take action.
What do you mean?
She can't get in the way, David.
Don't hurt her, Maya.
I'm a trained fucking agent. If I decide to do something, it's going to happen.
He pulls his face into a frown. Then, the line goes dead. The enormous Hotel Schweizerhof sits opposite Zurich station, in the centre of the city. Oscar Zetkin walks into the restaurant that is laid for breakfast and is shown to a table at the far end. He only has to wait 2 minutes before he sees the short frame of Arno Webel being led towards him. They order, and the waiter pours coffee for them both. "How's Amandine?" says Zetkin.
"I've only seen her at board meetings. She's highly affected by the death of her husband. She's behaving like a damaged creature,"
says Arno, "which makes it a good time to bring our plans forward." Arno's face lights up, and he nods vigorously as he drinks. "She's in shock," says Zetkin. "She's discovered many things about her husband since his death. Not all of them to her liking."
"Doesn't surprise me. I didn't find the man pleasant."
"Did you know him?"
"I met him a few times at social events when Amandine brought him along."
"Did you know he worked for German intelligence?" Arno widens his eyes. He shakes his head with a wry smile on his face.
"And Amandine didn't know?"
"Apparently not."
"We need to turn the screw on her. Her husband being a spy was an increased risk to the company. She should have formally informed the board about it. I could talk to her about stepping down in the light of this news."
"I'm not sure she'll step down, Arno. That company is her life."
"We'll have to find something."
Webel eats from his plate of food. "There's always the long backstop." Zetkin searches the man's face.
"What's that?"
Oscar Zetkin takes a mouthful of coffee. "She could have an accident. It's cleaner that way. She's got no children, no family to inherit."
No, Oscar."
He raises his palm.
"I'm not going to be party to anything like that."
"I know people who could do it," says Zetkin. "I've got an excellent new girl on the payroll. Very professional."
"What you saying?"
Arno's face is getting red. "It's an option."
"No, it's not an option, Oscar. Get it right out of your head. I've overlooked some of your other activities because I know you have an excellent network of clients for the bank. Once you and I are in charge. But I'm not going to stand by and let something like that happen."
Other diners nearby are looking around at the men as their conversation rises over the hubbub. Zetkin's voice slips into a near whisper as he leans towards the other man. "I'd remind you that you're fully signed up to our agreement to remove Amandine from Friedrich Andersen, Arno."
"But not that. There's no paperwork to prove our agreement either. I agreed to a boardroom coup. No criminality."
"I took the precaution of recording our conversations when we agreed what we would do." Zetkin smiles. Arno's face is a mass of tension. "In case you're thinking of going to the authorities about our plan, I recommend you don't do that. I pay many of the senior people in the Zurich law enforcement agencies for their help, so any accusations about me would quickly disappear. You, however, would be rightly subject to the full force of the law. Murder attracts life imprisonment in Switzerland, as I'm sure you know. Webel's demeanour has changed utterly in the last minute. Zetkin finishes his coffee and stands up, towering over the sitting man. I'll let you know when I've decided what we're going to do, he says, then turns and walks out of the restaurant. Gabby brings in bacon sandwiches and mugs of tea to the comms room in the safe house, where Hans has been working since just after dawn. Breakfast break, she says. I went out and bought it all at the corner shop.
Careful, that sounds domestic, Gabby.
She makes a disapproving face and sits on the swivel chair next to his. What have you found?
Maya Lorenz is interesting, he begins. Do you remember that she worked in the embassy on standard spook stuff? She had one of those bland job titles that we give them, you know, cultural officer.
Gabby bites into her sandwich.
She got a big promotion not long after that, and she was moved to run 2 assets. The code names for those 2 were Asset Wittbach and Asset Oberdorf. I couldn't see any more details before, so I asked London, and they gave me permission to see one of the files, Wittbach.
He looks at Gabby and she nods.
The other file, Oberdorf, is classified top secret, so they didn't let me have access to that one. But this Asset Wittbach is someone we've heard of.
Gabby looks up at him from over the rim of her mug.
It was Leo Haas.
She pulls her eyebrows together.
The guy who Kate got on a kill order the other day, he says.
They pause to think. So, he was an asset for MI6, and then we killed him.
Outlived his usefulness, by the look of it, says Hans.
There must have been something more than that. I don't believe Sir Bernard would make that sort of decision. We might decommission an asset and stop using them, but a termination? That seems very odd. He must have become a security threat.
Or Sir Bernard was overruled.
That would have to be the PM, says Gabby. She's the only one who can overrule if the Joint Intelligence Committee approve a kill order.
Well, we don't know, says Hans. All we do know is the guy's dead.
Does the file say why Leo Haas was a British asset in the first place? Hans turns to the screen and clicks through a document, reading sections of it.
He was a big noise in the criminal world in Europe. Drugs, mostly. He had a huge logistical network, with a whole load of officials paid off to turn a blind eye, in ports, at customs checkpoints, and inside the police.
Maybe he was using his network for arms, as well as drugs, says Gabby. Drugs aren't a security threat, but guns are, if they get into the wrong hands. How did we turn him? What did we offer him in exchange for his leaking?
There's nothing in the file about that.
Gabby blows out her cheeks. 2 people associated with Maya Lorenz have died within a week, she says. Vincent Fevrier and Leo Haas.
If we killed Haas, did we kill Fevrier too? Says Hans. And Maya is innocent.
Their eyes meet for a split second. Hans' voice is suddenly more serious.
I can't believe that MI6 would kill a member of the German government on German soil. We'd never get away with it.
I need to talk to Sir Bernard, she says, but face to face. I'll go to London. As usual, just before 9 a.m., Laravel walks along the corridor and into the lounge of the house by the lake. Amandine is sitting at her desk, that is against the far end wall and next to the windows. Laravel walks over and waits while the woman finishes writing some notes on a sheaf of papers. Have a seat, Natalie. Laravel sits on one of the nearby chairs. Amandine continues to write, and silence descends across the room. A minute later, Amandine finishes. Anything in the diary to discuss? She says. No, madame. The finance manager is going to call you about the accounts issue. Amandine nods and, unusually, smiles. A maid appears at the door with a tray, 2 cups, and a coffee pot.
Over on the low table, Marette, thank you.
Amandine turns to Laravel.
Shall we sit over there? More comfortable.
Laravel follows her, and they drop down into 2 light blue chairs.
Coffee? Thank you, madame,
says Laravel, waiting for whatever is coming next.
Natalie,
begins Amandine.
I've been watching you. Madame?
Laravel keeps in character of her cover life.
You're an intelligent girl. Too intelligent for this job. Thank you, madame. I'd like to make you a proposal. I was deeply shocked by my husband's death. We all were, madame. I've had many conversations with friends and family over the last few days, and I've thought about what I'm going to do now with my life.
Laravel nods.
I'd always assumed that Vincent and I would stop working at some stage and spend more time together. We had planned to travel. He had always wanted to visit China, and I've never been to the Philippines or New Zealand.
Laravel waits for the woman to tell her story.
We would have split our time between here and the skiing house in Engelberg.
She pauses again and turns to look out across the surface of the water, beyond the glass.
But now, my views have changed,
she says.
What will you do, madame? That's where you come in, Natalie. I need someone who is reliable and bright. A good organizer, good with people, and ambitious. You have all of those qualities. Thank you, madame. I try my best. My proposal could make you a very rich woman.
Laravel reacts as Natalie would, and looks both surprised and nervous.
The company, Friedrich Andersen, has been successful. My father established a solid business base, and I've grown it.
She pauses again and makes a small smile.
It has 20 billion Swiss francs of assets. Now I intend to use those assets for a small handful of our most profitable clients. That seems sensible, madame. That small group of clients are all in the same trade, Natalie. They deal with arms, guns, tanks, missile systems. They buy them with our money. They sell them on to people who want to change the way that things are run in their countries. Defense spending, madame. Not defense,
she says.
I prefer to call them freedom fighters.
Laravel frowns as Natalie would in this situation. Amandine continues.
However, my board of directors is trying to reduce our business with those clients, so it's pushed me to a decision. What you going to do, madame? What we are going to do,
says Amandine,
is steal the money. We're going to take it all, Natalie. Every last penny.